A nice little story for your journey. This art teacher um, was teaching some students privately in a studio, and he noticed that one was very quiet and deep, but it's not his job to question anything other than the art, the person's relationship with painting, whatever it is. And after a few weeks, this female student, she would stay back and help the teacher clean up, and she would speak away when she was cleaning up, and she became a bit more vocal after the class was over. And after another few weeks of this socializing, she would stay maybe till the place was cleaned up, and then she would go. And after another few weeks, she started to talk a bit more personally about her her personal life. The teacher knew from the beginning that she was withholding something through her deepness and her quietness and her unwillingness to participate in certain conversations and whatever. And so the teacher was not unexpecting of this. And very slowly he would listen and she would explain, and it became quite sad, some of the things that she was saying, and it was affecting her life and affecting her whole experience of being alive. And it involved the normal things, relationships and work and things that really get us down, being walked over and all that, stuff. So it seemed to get, every week it seemed to get longer, and rather than leave, the teacher would sit down and say, you can keep talking, but if it makes you feel better. She says, oh, I'm so happy that you're listening. I think it helps me, but I'm so a couple of weeks again then passed, and once the class was finished, she picked up her bag and says, look, I really need to stop this. I'm affecting your life. I'm putting all my problems onto you. And the teacher says, oh, no, this is not about my life. This is about your life. I'm not affected by what's happening in your life. I'm not even affected by how you're dealing with it. You're openly talking. She says, no, but it's not right. I feel so useless. And she says, I just wish, I know that you could help me. And the teacher says, I'm a teacher of art. And she says, yes, but I was drawn to you. And the teacher says, okay, sit down, please. And she put her back down and she sat down. And he says, look, I want you to, for a moment, just for a few moments, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine you're at the edge of the harbour, and the ocean is only a 6 feet drop. And it's a beautiful, clear, tranquil, blue ocean where you can see the bottom and everything that's in it. So it's very safe, And if you was to fall in or jump in, it would be quite easy to swim. You wouldn't hit the bottom, and everything would be okay, And he says, but before, what I want you to do first is, I want you to remove your clothes, all your clothes. Remember, you're on your own. There's no one around you, so I want you to remove your clothes. Imagine taking your clothes off. Okay. So yeah, he says, yeah, okay. he says, now I want you to start removing the parts of your body. I want you to start with your head. Take your head off and put it to the side. You know? And then I wanted to take your skin off and put it to the side. And he went through the whole process of dismembering the body into parts relevant for this exercise. And he said, have you removed your body? Oh, she said, yes. Can you see your body at the side in parts? Yes. Okay, he says, now, what I want you to do now is I want you to jump into the ocean. And everything went quiet. And she says, I can't. I can't do it. He says, okay. So, we're going to put you back together again in a minute. But before we do, I want you to remain with your eyes closed and just stand there. And I want to change your thought. And I want you to imagine being in the ocean. I want to imagine the sense of the water around you. I want to imagine everything that you would experience while being in this ocean. And she says, yes, I'm in the ocean. It's great, I'm in the ocean. He said, okay, you can stay there for as long as you like. And when you're ready, you can come out. And she stayed, and her eyes, her whole body seemed to change, her whole shape, everything. And he says, he waited until she removed, and until she opened her eyes. And she said, I feel so good. She says, what happened? He says, you woke up without putting your body back on. Are you okay? She says, oh, I completely forgot. He says, let me tell you what happened. You know, you couldn't jump in. You couldn't jump in because there was something to do. The attachment and the relationship with your body creates some sort of inability to be what you truly are. So you couldn't jump in thinking your legs were at the side of you, thinking your body, I have no body, how can I jump? See? But you, when asked about being in the water, there was no thought. There was no thought. There was nothing to do. You see? There was nothing to do. You were already there. The thought of being in the water overpowered the thought of doing something to get in the water. And she began laughing or smiling. I said, sorry, the man said, how did you get in the water without your body? She says, I didn't think about it. It just happened. It just happened. And something gave. And she laughed. And she cried. And the teacher, he continued to clean up in class and left her alone. And she said, I'm sorry about, crying and laughing. It's just that, he says, life is about being. Life is about being present in the moment. Life is not about doing or feeling you have to do. I never thought about it. It just happened. He didn't say to the girl, it being the name of God. That's not your job, you see? That's not my job. That's not anyone's job to tell you what God is. You have to find that out for yourself. Now, it appeared that it was a dream that took place. The story of the girl finishes. She came back for the next few weeks. She never stayed back at class. She started interacting with everyone. She started painting like she'd never painted before. And at the end of the course, she gave the teacher a really big hug and some gift. And she said, you saved my life. And the teacher was never to see her again. Yes, it's a dream. Yes, it was imagined. But this life, this physical form life, is also a dream. It is also imagined, you see? It is also imagined. Until you make this life until you make it real. And to make it real, you have to make it clear. And to make it clear, you have to make it with no fear, no worry. And to make it everything that you feel that you're here for is to be genuine, open, and loving. You have to make it with love. You have to make the dream come alive. And it will be worthy if you make it worthy. And when you make it worthy, you make it true. So, dream on. Don't do, and just be. You will understand Rumi, not from the words, not from the feelings, but from the experience. When you discover your original birth. And when you do, that's the real journey. When you start to truly make it real. Truly make it true. Truly make it as it is. God bless you all. Namaste.